Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest. Riker, it's not even the offseason. Well, it's not officially the offseason yet, but we're getting those deep off-season trade rumors happening. The quarantine's really getting to people, and I'm sure all Raptors fans, we have a lot of people looking for deep-cut Raptors news, so a lot of people probably heard about this swirling around, but there's rumors, firstly, that the Toronto Raptors are really high on LaMelo Ball, and you guys saw the title and all that, so apparently the Raptors have high interest in LaMelo Ball, and that's led to a lot of speculation about this trade that's been drummed up between the Raptors, the Sixers, and the Warriors. So I'm just going to lay it out, and I'll let you react to it, Riker. So apparently the Raptors would trade Kyle Lowry and assets to the 76ers. The Sixers would then trade Ben Simmons to the Warriors, and the Warriors would then give us their first-round pick to draft LaMelo Ball. Sound off on this, Riker?
Well, Ben, it makes no sense to me. We had a brief talk about this before the podcast started. If you have an opportunity as the 76ers to make a trade with your top one or two guy and a first pick is on the table, you're not flipping that opportunity into Kyle Lowry. I don't care, Kyle Lowry plus whoever else you get on the Toronto Raptors. You're not letting that first pick go to somebody else. Right? That's the first thing that comes to my mind. The second is, what are you doing trading away pieces for a Ball brother? Right? Because, we know what happened the last time. We're 5 seasons or 3 or 4. I don't know how long Lonzo's been in the league now, but we're still holding our breath for him to, unleash his potential. And it's not until 2 or 3 other all-star type players are around him that he's at least, realizing his assisting potential. So it's, I don't know.
He's been good. He's been good, not great.
Three all-stars around him. 3 all-stars around him. You have a generational talent in Zion. You have an all-star in Brandon Ingram. You have an all-star in Drew Holiday. And now finally, Lonzo can go out there and have a few flashy passes. To me, that's the only thing that's come of him in the Pelicans, besides him adjusting his shot form, and maybe we'll see him splashing down a few more threes.
Fair. I'll critique the trade first. I'm a bit higher on Lonzo than you are. I think he's adjusted his jumper and is a better passer and defender than a lot of people give him credit for. But yes, he is by no means a star right now. He was okay with the Lakers. He's been solid for the Pelicans. But we're talking about this trade right here, and I'm in complete agreement. I don't see why the Sixers do this, and Kyle Lowry's my favorite player, but his trade value, even sprinkled in with assets, and Masai's not going to give up Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby for LaMelo Ball. He's not going to throw those types of assets in it. Maybe a first, maybe something like that. But Kyle Lowry just doesn't have the trade value close to what Ben Simmons does, purely based off age. Kyle Lowry's obviously a more established player. I'd still put him as the better player out of those two. And maybe you can make an argument the Sixers are all in win now. We saw that last year when they made the Tobias Harris trade, and they're giving up young assets like Landry Shamet, Covington, Saric to get Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler. But whatnot, I don't see them making a deal like that again. So the Sixers, I think they need a lot more to get rid of Ben Simmons. And you brought it up. If you're going to use Ben Simmons as a trade piece, they could get a lot more. They could get a lot more value that fits their timeline and gets things going for them. So that's the one thing that
I'm thinking though, what? All right, let's just look at the 76ers actually wanting Kyle Lowry, because that's also what's being thrown out. Let alone that the Raptors want this pick because of LaMelo Ball or whoever else that they might want in the NBA draft. Mm-hmm. Let's just look at the 76ers wanting to receive Kyle Lowry to be a win-now team, like you said. Is there, I'm even looking at it can the 76ers do anything to actually get past the East? Because you said it, that Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, there are a few good bench guys. You can't really get better than that team. And I don't think that they've already traded away a lot of those big names. Right? Al Horford's on the decline. You're getting rid of Ben Simmons. You'd be bringing in Kyle Lowry. We know how good he is, but does that improve the team? Does that give him a chance to win now? To me, I'm looking at that thinking they're not winning now with that team. There's no way that they're beating the East just by getting rid of Ben Simmons and bringing in Kyle Lowry. Yeah. Even if they brought in Joel Embiid and Norm Powell to boot, there's no way that they become the best team in the East.
Yeah, and obviously Jimmy Butler's gone as well from that sort of core group of guys, but I think they probably improve inserting Kyle for this season and maybe the season after. They improve with inserting Kyle Lowry in for Ben Simmons just based off of the play styles, and this is a huge argument going around.
Yeah, but they don't become a win now.
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of building up to. So, like, I think the play styles, the Sixers do get better. And if their GM or something is saying, hey, we're one piece away, we're one adjustment away, because in theory, they were one Kawhi buzzer beater shot away from beating the NBA champions last year. So that might be something they're predicting. And then if Elton Brand, the Sixers GM, says, hey, Ben Simmons and Embiid don't really fit together, and Kyle Lowry's play style, being a playmaker, a shooter, could really mesh well with this team. Getting a guy maybe like Norman Powell paired with that and a pick and all that, maybe that pushes them over the edge. I don't buy it, but that's something out there, and I think they could get a lot more for Ben Simmons in that fact. But the one bottleneck I really think in this trade is, why on earth would the Raptors do this, Riker? You brought up the LaMelo Ball sort of bashing there, and there's a lot of question marks surrounding his game, his jump shot, all that sort of stuff, even though he is a 6'7" point guard with a lot of potential. But the Raptors are still a win now team. I think all the trades that get sort of thrown in the blockbuster mainstream media predict the Raptors are just going to blow it up since Kawhi left. And we've seen this season, we're an amazing team with Pascal Siakam, Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Gasol, Ibaka, the whole crew playing amazing. We're not looking to wait for LaMelo Ball to save us. We're not trying to have a rookie lead this Eastern Conference team that you and I think could possibly make the finals this year if we, obviously the season goes ahead.
Well, let me toss this out though, Ben. Are the Raptors bad enough to miss the playoffs, right? Even if we had key guys that we lost, like if we didn't re-sign Gasol, if we didn't re-sign Kyle Lowry,
like next year?
Yeah, we retained Fred VanVleet, retained Siakam. We're still going to make the playoffs, the Toronto Raptors.
Oh, we'll still be great. Like, we're still going to be really solid.
Okay, great, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the playoffs.
Yep.
They're not going to miss the playoffs,
yep.
Right? And we know that salaries are going to be an issue moving forward because you have an aging Gasol, you have an aging Ibaka, you have an aging Kyle Lowry. You're trying to max out Fred VanVleet. You've already maxed out Pascal Siakam, right? You got guys that are coming up soon going to be needing contracts, right? We got rookies that are coming up off the rookie contracts. We're trying to land Giannis, okay? It's already well documented on our plight with signing free agents to the Toronto Raptors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as we've already said, what on earth is Kyle Lowry's trade stock? If you're looking at guys in the same vein and the same argument as Ben Simmons, we don't even think it makes sense. So let's assume this trade was real and you put on your evil Jerry Krause hat, right? And put yourself in a Masai Ujiri's position to say, we're never going to get a draft pick because our team's going to be in the playoffs for sure. We have this issue now because we are going to have to start paying our guys, and we need to have still a long-term vision because we don't want to slip back into the, mid 2010s or the early 2000s Toronto Raptor, or the, between after Vince Carter and between
era.
Exactly. That era before exactly the best era of the Toronto Raptors history, right? Doesn't make sense, right? Let's like I said, put on your evil Jerry Krause hat. For the Raptors to get rid of a guy to get back a pick that we would never ever otherwise get.
Like, no, not Lowry and assets.
Why?
The amount
Why?
Of assets,
because you squirm about Lowry, but why would it not be good?
Well, firstly, I don't think it's realistic, but we're in a win now situation, and giving up, like, if we could get a first overall pick for Lowry right now, trade value wise, that makes sense, I guess. Like, if we could get a number 1 overall pick for Lowry, but I just don't see the Raptors being in a position where we do that, where we make the risk to get rid of our all-star starter and, open that valve. I guess objectively,
you don't see the Raptors making a risk to trade a top player in order to make a bigger move. Ben.
To get like a young rookie that's very unpredictable in a draft class that people say is kind of not very good.
You're crazy to tell me that the Raptors are not willing to make a move. We traded DeMar DeRozan.
No, not willing to make a move. I'm saying to make a move for LaMelo Ball, to trade Lowry, Norm, and another couple of young guys. Would you trade? Okay, would you trade?
What did we say?
Would you trade? No. Would you, Riker? Would you trade Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell, Terrence Davis, and a first-round pick for LaMelo Ball?
Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell, Terrence Davis, and a first-round pick. Well, see, this is the issue. We don't know what the trade package is.
Kyle Lowry and 3 assets.
collection of players.
Something
We could touch it.
realistic enough to get Ben Simmons. Trade it from the Sixers.
Sure. Well, the issue is, would I do it? I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't. But I'm thinking about it like this, Ben.
Yep.
I'm thinking about it like, what do we say we're going to do with Kyle Lowry after his contract expires? We want to give him, in a perfect situation,
Less
a
money.
short-term contract on medium-level salary. That means we want him to be a vet player.
Yep.
We just want him to fill that veteran role. So you're not getting any trade stock from that guy. You're not getting any value in return except mentorship. So if you look at the long-term plan, all he's doing is
Kyle
burning
Lowry's still good.
through
He's still an asset.
your cap.
Player.
He's only burning through your cap. Yeah, he's an asset, but he's not a long-term asset like a number one pick in the draft.
But I'm talking
Right? So I'm
Kyle
saying
Lowry.
you're going to
and
get
assets.
no value in return from him as time goes on. And I don't think that it makes sense to trade Kyle Lowry for LaMelo Ball when you put it in that context. But when you put it in the context of, this guy is just going to, he's like a car. He's literally like purchasing a car. You're never going to get appreciation on a car. It's just going to depreciate as soon as you drive it off the lot, and you're going to pay insurance, and you're going to pay gas and all these extra costs. Going to get you where you want to go, but it's not a brand new car. You're not buying this car to now buy a more expensive car. That's exactly like owning Kyle Lowry as a GM.
That's
so if you can flip a Honda into a Ferrari, Ben, would you maybe do that?
Are you telling me LaMelo Ball's
maybe
the
he would.
Ferrari that we? You started off this podcast flaming LaMelo.
Yeah, but then you immediately followed me by saying I'm in complete agreement with you, and we couldn't have a full podcast where we agree, Ben.
No, like I'm in agreement. Like this trade doesn't make sense. I think a lot of people out there are. It's an interesting sort of discussion, and I get the point of, obviously a top 3 pick has more trade value than Kyle Lowry right now. But when you're attaching assets to it, the Toronto Raptors assets are very valuable. Our younger guys, and you brought up the cap situation, and yes, that's tough. It's going to be a difficult thing for us to navigate through, but I don't see us trading our established guy, the face of the franchise, along with younger players that would need to be thrown in there to make the Sixers make a move like Ben Simmons to the Warriors. I don't see Masai making that move specifically. And we never know what Masai's going to do in terms of trades. And if a superstar's on the board, he'd definitely go after it. But I don't see anyone in this draft, whether it be LaMelo Ball or anyone like that, that's going to be a Kawhi Leonard-esque type of move. A guy that's going to come in and be a superstar. And that's what the reports have sort of said. The Raptors are really high on LaMelo, regardless if they make this move or not. So maybe they see superstar potential that you and I just don't necessarily see as out there. But I don't see this happening. Firstly, for the Sixers side, like I think it gets written off for the Sixers just completely at the jump. And I don't think it makes sense for the Raptors to give up Lowry and assets when you look at the sort of trajectory of our team. And I just want to throw this in before we sort of dial this back. The Warriors would be in absolute finesse mode if they got Ben Simmons for a top 3 pick right now. He'd be like he'd be what Draymond Green is hyped up to be. He's the juice for that.
Flipping any starter into a trade. Like if you trade your first round pick for any all-star, the Warriors win that trade. You'd have to assume, because what do they need a future for? Or you could maybe 10 years down the road, they're going to need a future, but you're holding on to Curry. You're holding on to Thompson. You can do whatever you want with Wiggins now. You can flip him again, maybe.
Give him to the Raptors.
They're set, right? They don't need a first round pick to be fine. Like they could make their way back to the championship with or without a first round pick that turns into a superstar player, right? So if they flip that into anything, I think that they are going to win that trade for the most part. Like any all-star, any all-star type player. But Ben, the other reason that this doesn't make, I'm going to go back to this side, this doesn't make sense for the Toronto Raptors, is because if you did trade away your core team, and assuming again that we're thinking, all right, a team without Kyle Lowry and a few others is nowhere near the ability, like doesn't have the ability to make a deep run. That's basically what we're saying, that Fred VanVleet and Siakam on their own can't do it. I would say that's probably true, right?
I think they can make a playoff
You're
run.
kind of
Title will be
they can
tough.
make a playoff run, but not deep. No, not deep. And the reason it doesn't make sense for me to take this, like, you know, because you're going to wait a few years for a first round pick to get good. The reason it doesn't make sense to do that now is because you don't know who's the next team in the league. right? It could be the Clippers. It could be the Lakers. It could be the Celtics. It could be the Raptors. It could be the 76, right? There's so much parity right now in the league. Yeah, if there was like, if you're talking about 4 or 5 years ago when it's the Cavaliers or the Warriors and you're unsure whether or not you want to start a semi-rebuild, that's the perfect time to do it, right? But now there's like 8 teams circling the crown, and now you want to tell me you want to start making moves? Like, I don't think that makes any sense.
Yeah, especially how we're playing this season, and LaMelo Ball is also a point guard. If we're getting rid of Kyle Lowry, we're keeping Fred VanVleet. And Terrence Davis, and by that matter, I think, like, if Lowry's moved, it's to make Fred the starter. I don't think there's any other way. He's sort of this. Kyle Lowry goes out in any other situation unless we finesse. LaMelo Ball is not playing over Fred VanVleet right now. Fred VanVleet is a NBA champion. He has a Finals MVP vote, so I feel like that would be a weird sort of puzzle piece to fit together. Maybe Nurse could figure it out, but I don't know. I just don't see this happening. I don't see it happening the Raptors side. I don't see it happening for the Sixers side. Maybe Warriors fans are crafting this, ESPN, whoever. But one thing I thought of, and before we end it off, Riker, what if the Warriors threw in Wiggins to the Raptors?
What if the Warriors threw in Wiggins? No.
What?
No.
Maple Jordan, bro.
Definitely not.
Throw in Maple
Jordan.
Jordan, the squad, to the Six. We signed Tristan Thompson, get a Canadian squad going.
If anything, that's less incentive.
I know how big of a fan
like the
you
other
are.
way around.
I know how big of a fan you are of Andrew Wiggins.
101. Dude, why not toss Terrence Ross into this deal somehow too? Let's make it a 4-way and get T. Ross back on the team.
You guys heard it here first. The Toronto Raptors are going to trade Kyle Lowry for Andrew Wiggins, LaMelo Ball, and Terrence Ross. Let me know what you guys think of the deal. Let us know in the comment section below. You're the best to make this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all the cool stuff. And a major shout out to Instagram. You've been posting on that a lot, so definitely follow that. Tell your friends about it. All that cool stuff. Riker, any last words on the return of Terrence Ross and Andrew Wiggins and LaMelo Ball?
Kill me now, Ben. I shouldn't have brought it up. That's it. We're shutting this down. Cheers.